I am Josh.
I am Banks.
This is Odd Places. Where are we going, Banks?
Going viral.
That's a good idea.
So Josh, how about a civilization that does not use money? And we've talked money in the past, and I'm more specific, more thinking about right now, right here where we are. We
Okay.
have a stock market that's going crazy. We have, maybe you can explain that to me. We have unemployment, which is so high. We have pandemic, we have people not spending money. We have bankruptcy, retail. I mean, Amazon's doing well. The stock market's doing well. Zoom is doing well.
Yeah. This is part of by the way, this is a much, much bigger concept of capitalism. This is part of the disease and the self-destruction of capitalism that it's just naturally occurring. It has to happen at some point. We've been fighting it. But yeah, depends how deep you want to get into this. But there's more, I guess, to your point, communal forms of economic theory that it goes more towards not such a big focus on money, where it's more of sharing resources and trading and bartering and equality of opportunity, things like that. So yeah, I like the idea in general. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, this is an incubator for the changing, and I did read just the cover of a magazine. Maybe it was the New Yorker. I don't know. It was on Apple News, and it was this guy, some head of something, a lot of money, and he said the new capitalism. And from what I read, it was just referring to now what's gonna. I mean, his forecast of how we're going to change as far as capitalism is concerned.
Yeah, and capitalism started with the idea of private ownership of enterprise, creating goods, and then you sell those goods, right? And then the idea is how low can you get your costs such that you can increase your profit, and you just keep building a company. And it just kind of went off the rails a little bit with wages and things like that. So I think we're going to see a bigger shift than just the new capitalism. If you've noticed, look what Bernie Sanders has done. He's actually used the S word and the C word, right? Socialism, communism, as economic theory, not as people tie it to authoritarianism, which is totally different. That's a political ideology versus an economic theory. He's brought that out in the open, and people are receptive to it. Millions of people like Bernie and like his concepts. So I think we're seeing a bigger shift than just new capitalism. I think we're seeing a whole different economy that's going to be coming into play in the next few decades. Necessarily, by the way.
Okay, so you said communism. When I was in college, high school, I wrote something, and it was, I believe in communism as a theory where everybody's taken care of. It's almost, in the sense of economic communism, we are all taken care of, our needs are taken care of. Now, the greed and the negative aspects of humanity, I mean, I see that in capitalism. So back to communism. The point that I was interested in was that everybody had their needs taken care of.
Yes, and that's one of the good effects. But here's the key with communism. The key with communism is shared ownership versus private ownership at the top of just a few people. It's shared ownership, so we all have a stake in the success of a company, of producing goods.
Okay.
It's interesting. This is nothing new, by the way. Oh, I should say nothing new. I was actually part of technically a communist system. I don't know if you know this. I worked for a company. We had something called an ESOP, Employee Stock Ownership Program, where basically the company took out a bank loan. The bank itself started giving shares to the employees. We actually owned our own company, even though there was a CEO and there was a head to it and all that. There was a main owner. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. This is powerful.
So a beehive is owned by the bees, correct?
Yes. There's still a leader, right? There's still a queen.
The queen is pumping out those new workers. Yeah. I get it. However, the bees know what to do instinctually. Go get the nectar, bring it back. Let's make it into honey, and we can live off that. And we have to give it to the man, the woman. In my case, because I have women beekeepers. Then be it. However, it is shared. Now, you said something, communism, and the first thing I thought about was commune, where we're sharing.
Yes,
Everybody,
that's where it comes from.
yes, everybody comes together and we decide, okay, we have one lawnmower for this entire subdivision. Just write down when you need it, and whoever has the name down gets it. And if you don't, check it off, say I don't need it, and somebody else can take it. What is wrong with that? Is that counterintuitive to capitalism?
It technically is the opposite of capitalism. Unfortunately, communism has become the C word, literally, because it's tied with authoritarianism, it's tied with dictatorships, and that's unfortunate. But the concept is good, and I think it could still work. And I think we're trending that way.
What about just economic communism? What's wrong with that? EC, ec.
Yeah, I think one of the arguments against it is probably, well, will everyone pull their own weight? Will everyone do what they're supposed to do, or they're going to have some slackers you're going to have to carry?
Okay, so in your X amount of years alive, I'm going to ask you: is everybody going to carry their weight?
Nope, not going to happen anyways.
Yeah. So with capitalism, you're still bailing them out. You're bailing out the top that are bankrupting and finding, helping them out. You're bailing out the lower ones who need welfare and need bailing out there. You bail out the banks. You bail out the car companies. I mean, that's the government. So in this capitalistic, in our system, which is, I would say it's capitalist, we are still bailing out those who can't pull their weight. Got a bankrupt, boom.
Yeah.
Clean.
And I'll go one further. I just watched a video which brought an interesting point. It says capitalism is anti-democratic by nature.
How was that?
Because the workers that are giving their lives and producing the products and building the company, they have no say in what that company does and where that company goes. The say is at the board of director level only. Meanwhile, everyone is putting their effort and producing the products. So it's technically, and by the way, to get on the board, you need to have shares. So only if you're wealthy enough, because every one share is one vote when it comes to being voted onto the board of directors of a company. Right. So basically, it's this small group of people that make all the decisions, but the majority of us are producing the products, are producing the goods and services.
Okay, and you do see that now in Facebook, where companies, Coca-Cola, are saying, "I'm divesting in advertising. I'm not in advertising anymore with you because of your practices." Now, I mean, I have no idea what Facebook is doing. Maybe they're easing up. I have no idea. The point is, though, that company is then changing the economic model of, I guess, Facebook somehow. No, yeah. I mean,
it's influence for sure.
If enough companies say, "I do not want to be affiliated with this this discriminatory company," or this, and I'm just using that, or this racial company, then advertising dollars for investment are going to go away, which is an economic, and that's capitalism. I agree.
And kudos to those companies for taking a stand, but that still wasn't necessarily the will of their workers. So for example, do you think if the workers had a say in how a company is run, that any jobs would go overseas, that these companies would be going over to get cheap labor in China and Thailand and things like that? Because that is capitalism. Your job as a capitalist is to lower your costs, and your number one cost is human resource. So that is natural. You have to do that as a capitalist.
Then why are there companies out there that are, Patagonia is a company, clothing company, and they take care of their employees, health care, and we're going to have a daycare on site. You can have lunch with your kids. We're going to make sure your kids go to college. We're going to fund, you know.
Yeah.
Now that it sounds extremely socialistic. You work for my company and I'm going to take care of all your needs. What? You need mental counseling? Free. You need health counseling? Free. You need your kids to go to college? Free. You need childcare? Free. And you give me your whatever, 40, 45 hours a week?
Not free. Not free. It's a trade, right? It's
Right.
a communal trade. So you're right. It's not free.
Okay. So you work for Publix and you get paid money. You might not get the health care and you might not get the benefits because Publix will keep you under the 25 hours or whatever hours per quarter. And
Right.
if you agree with that, if you say, yes, I want this, then that's an agreement also, just like it is with Patagonia.
It is. It is. But again, we're also conditioned and raised to accept that kind of agreement, which literally is being underpaid. We know for a fact, mathematically, you have to be underpaid in a company. Otherwise, the company makes no money in capitalism.
I'm Banks.
I'm Josh.
Odd Places, going
Communal and viral.